Hello and welcome to Nat Chat. I'm Mirella Rich. Today our guest is Katie Lindorf, who's a Catholic homeschool mum, and she was also homeschooled for part of her schooling years, as well as her husband was too. Welcome to the program.
Thank you, Mirella.
Nice to have you back again.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
And now, with homeschooling, people wonder, what's going to happen to them after they leave? Will they be able to do anything? Will they be lost souls in the world? But you and your husband actually managed to build your own family home together without having any knowledge or experience of building. You didn't do any courses in building.
No.
So tell us a little bit about that, because some of this must come from the initiative with homeschooling and the enthusiasm you get.
Yes, well, I think one of the main benefits of homeschooling is that while you're homeschooled, your parent acts as a supervisor, so you're actually teaching yourself to learn. Once you've learned that once you've taught yourself that you can learn anything, the sky's the limit, really. It's just down to your own aptitude then, but you become very self-motivated to learn. And I mean, we have so many interests. I think it'd take us like 5 lifetimes to master them all, but you know, the house was just one thing that we bought a block of land. There was no house on it. It was kind of just sensible for us to, well, let's build something on it.
Wow.
So we started off with a shed that was a kit, and that all managed to go up okay. And
that was just from reading the instructions and reading up on it? Did you Google stuff as well? And
yes, there were Google searches,
YouTube.
there were forums, YouTube, and of course reading all the standards, so to ensure that it was built to Australian standards. Last thing you want is your family home collapsing on you on a windy night. So and then after that it was like, well, you know, a house is pretty easy. People have been building them for thousands of years.
True. That's
so
true.
We start from the bottom and we just work up. We'll learn each thing as we go along.
And then you lived in the shed while you were building the house, were you?
No, I wasn't that brave. We rented while we were building, but we rented nearby. So.
So you just turn up to the house. And were you homeschooling at that time, or were the children, how old were the children?
We took 18 months full time so my husband took 18 months off work to just full time on the house, the two of us. We were raising children at that time, and we did start the homeschooling in that time. So I mean, we've got photos of me sitting there in a house that just had our lunch table in it, and you know, breastfeeding the baby and teaching the second one to read, sort of thing. So you just kind of during the breaks and things just do a little bit here and there. They were very young at that stage, of course, so they didn't need as much time.
Isn't that brilliant? That's brilliant. It's good to give other people hope as well, that anyone can do that. Like that we can, if we learn the right ropes. You know, if you just read the right books and find out, do the research that you did as well. And then you get the Australian standards, what you have to do. Exactly. And we've then taken that on to the rest of our farm. Learning to build fences through trial and error, and putting gates in, and even the whole cycle of sheep and looking after them. And then there's done a little bit of cropping and hay baling in that. You know, you just go along, and I mean, what's the worst that can happen, really? Our house hasn't fallen down yet. So you find that you have a bit more initiative because you were homeschooled as well? Taking things upon yourself to sort of learn it yourself?
Well, you can. You have confidence in yourself that you can learn it. So why not try?
Exactly. That's beautiful. And with your farm, do you get very busy homeschooling the children and running the farm? Are you very involved in the running of the farm as well?
Yes, I am, because my husband does 3 days of work, 3 days a week of work. So on the days that he's working, I am keeping an eye on the farm, on what needs to be done there at this time of year with the drought, picking up hay bales and feeding them, and getting the water and all that stuff for them. So
and do the children get involved in any of this as well?
They do, yes. Sometimes not voluntarily,
Yeah.
but you know, come on kids, we need someone to open the gates,
Yeah.
kind of thing.
Well, it's a good skill for them to learn as well, to grow up learning how to run a farm. That's already a skill in itself.
It is, and really we couldn't do it without them. Like
Yeah.
we couldn't do the amount of work that we do
Yeah.
without our kids pitching in
Yeah.
very willingly.
That's good, and at the same time they get the great experience of it.
Yep, yeah.
Someday they might run a farm themselves.
Yeah, I think some of them are thinking of going
Oh,
into
really?
agriculture, so
Oh,
yeah.
beautiful.
And we're like first generation farmers. Our parents didn't farm at all, so
Oh,
we've had to
okay.
learn it all from scratch.
Oh, what made you get into farming?
We just wanted the land, and when you've got the land, you've got to do something with it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, farm.
Oh, okay, beautiful. And with homeschooling, sometimes there's a school of thought where when your child asks you something, it means their brain is really ready to receive it at that point in time. So it's the best time is you answer them at that time and you teach them at that time when they're asking you something.
Right.
I also practiced that as well once with my daughter as well, just with something she was asking me at the same time. Like it was when she was like 4, asking me how to count. So
Yep.
we did counting to 100, and I did it because she wanted to know in that moment. So I put all the effort in that moment because I'd heard about that school of thought.
Yep.
And then my husband came home, and I said, "Look, she can already count to 100." And he goes, "No, she can't. How could she count to 100?" And she started doing it, and he was like, "What?" And I just thought that was a really interesting school of thought, because when they're ready, they're going to really retain it.
Yep.
When they're really ready to learn and wanting to learn.
Yeah, I guess it makes sense. I haven't heard of that,
Yeah.
but yeah, that makes sense, and I'll probably try a bit harder now to answer when I'm asked a question.
I know, because it's at inopportune moments, like I was making dinner and all that. I was like,
Yep.
"Oh, hang on, I thought, oh no, remember that? What you heard? Dinner time."
Yep,
You
yeah.
stop what you're doing and teach it. And I thought, gee, it really worked. But you have to keep reminding yourself, because it's always when you're in the middle of something
Of course, yes.
that it happens. But it's actually really good because they really retain it.
Yeah, I guess they're asking for a reason, aren't they?
Yeah, I guess it's like that saying, when the student is ready, the teacher will appear. Have you heard that
Yeah.
saying?
No, I haven't heard that
yeah.
one. Yeah,
It's sort of like a old wise saying from somewhere. I don't know where it is.
yeah.
And is your husband involved in the homeschooling curriculum in any way?
Yes, he is. He's while he doesn't necessarily do the day-to-day teaching as such, he is very involved, particularly when there's certain maths concepts, because I'm not a very good maths person. My strength is more in the English. So any maths concepts that I can't handle, just go see Dad.
Yeah. Oh, that's brilliant. Right, we'll have to go to a break now. You're watching Nat Chat. Stay with us. We'll be back with more very shortly. Hello and welcome back to Nat Chat. I'm Mirella Rich. If you've just joined us, we're here with Katie Lindorf, who is a Catholic homeschool mum. She has 5 children who she's homeschooling, and she was also homeschooled for part of her schooling years as well, and so is her husband. Welcome back to the program.
Thank you.
And you run a farm, and you built your own house. I mean, the list goes on. You've done so much, and there's so much more you want to do. It's really
yes.
wonderful.
Yep.
Now, were your brothers and sisters in your family all homeschooled? What was the situation? Tell us a little bit about your family.
Okay, well, I'm one of 8, and in my family we've got what we call the older 4 and the younger 4. So we've got older siblings, and then a gap of 7 years, and then the younger ones, and I'm the oldest of the younger ones.
Yeah.
And the younger ones were homeschooled, the older ones were not.
Oh, okay.
And interestingly, out of all the 8 children, only one has a degree from university.
Right.
All the others are managing to make their way in the world without the letters at the end of the name.
Yeah.
And my younger sister, who has the degree, has never set foot in a school in her life.
Oh.
And she is quite proud to say that to everybody.
What? That's unbelievable. Isn't that wonderful?
Yeah, so she never went to school. She was totally homeschooled, and she's the first one in our family to actually have gotten a degree.
Isn't that cute? And so when she got the degree, did she go to university to do it, or did
Yes.
she do it online?
Yep, she went to university to
Isn't
do
that
it.
amazing? So
Yeah.
it just sort of, it's informing to people, because people aren't aware of so much about homeschooling. So it's sort of coming up now that there's so many people in a city that are homeschooling as well as in the country,
Yep.
it's becoming such a popular thing. Why do you think it's becoming so popular now?
I think there is a number of people who are not happy with what the way the education system is going. I think a lot of people really want it to get back to basics. I think they're asking about the 3 R's basically. The reading, writing and arithmetic, because it's being thrown out the window in favour of trends, I think, that are coming through. I mean, just in 4th term, I had 2 people quite separately come up to me and say, "Oh, I heard you homeschool. I want to homeschool my kids next year." And one reason was, for one of them, was that there was no decent high schools in our area. And the other one for the other family was that their kids, they found out their kids had spent 2 weeks at school making a puppet. And they were just shocked. They were like, but what about your maths? What about your reading?
Wow.
So I think a lot of people are just sick of it. They're just saying, well, if the government's not going to provide a decent education, I'm going to have to.
Isn't it interesting? I wonder why it's gone downhill. Why do you think that is?
Well, that's a long topic right there, but I would say left-wing ideology has taken over in all aspects of life, being fueled by the media. But anyway, that's a whole other topic that don't get me started on that one.
Okay. If there's a mother watching or father watching who wants to homeschool their children or their child, is there any advice you can give them on what steps to get started? How can they get started and have the confidence to do it if they're really feeling passionate about this and they want to do it, but they don't know how to get started? What sort of advice could you give them?
Well, the first thing would be to have that passion and confidence. You really have to believe that what you're doing is right for your child, because that will keep you going when the times get tough, because you do run out of steam at times and you do get tired and other things can get overwhelming, so you need to have that real grit to just keep going. And of course it gets better again, as life does. But the other thing is just go online, do searches, look up homeschooling networks and different curriculums, and just talk to people. They may know people around them. Go and talk to them. Most people are more than happy to talk about where they started, why they started, how they started.
Also Google groups, homeschool groups, so you can join a homeschool group as well.
Yep.
To get advice from other mothers that are doing it, or fathers that are doing it. It's mostly mothers that are in the homeschool groups.
Yeah, I think it's mostly
sometimes the
mothers.
fathers come in if the mums can't, or they help out if the mum's having another baby.
Yep, that, or dad's on shift work and he happens to have that day off. He'll take the opportunity to be with his kids.
And also YouTube, you could probably YouTube it and look up people that are doing homeschooling and how they go about it.
Probably, although there are as many different ways of homeschooling as there are families, I think. Everybody does it a little bit differently. It just fits in with what their lifestyle is. I did hear of a lady who, she worked during the day and she homeschooled her children in the evenings when she got home from work. But of course she had older teenager children who could stay at home. So
to look after the younger ones.
So, that's different. I haven't heard of that.
But that's a new way, So she still managed to work full-time and homeschool. She must have been tired.
I'd say so.
And then homeschool them when she got home. And all she wants to do is probably lie down.
I guess they probably did stuff during the day and she assisted at night.
Maybe they did more of the activity type stuff and then she could do a little bit of... Well, I suppose if the older ones already have learnt a bit, like reading, they could start teaching the little ones to read and write and stuff like that.
I think in her particular case she was separated and had just the two or three teenagers.
What dedication.
So she was determined to get it done, and where there's a will there's a way.
I think the homeschool mums, they're such a unique bunch. Like they're really... They have this, both, the homeschool groups, the Catholic ones and just the general homeschool group, they have this passion to really they love their children so much, they want to give the best to their children. They want,
Yep.
even if it costs them their own time, you know, and their own, well, I'd like to do this. They don't go there. They get into it, you know.
Yeah, you have to have that passion, because that's what keeps you going.
It's a beautiful thing.
And even though, you know, I would never in a million years have become a teacher in a school. No, I'm just not teacher material.
Yeah.
But when it comes to my kids, I'm willing to do that.
Yeah.
And go the extra mile for them.
Yeah.
And I think that's what you have to have to.
And looking back and watching them develop, do you look back in awe, like when you reflect every now and then and see how much they've learnt or how they've grown?
Oh yeah, and it goes so fast too. You know, people think that it takes a long time for them to grow up, but I think it goes so fast.
Yeah.
Seeing my oldest now, who's doing mathematics that I can't do anymore.
Wow.
You know, she can't ask me for help. She has to go ask Dad.
Oh, fantastic.
She's outstripped my meagre mathematics skills.
Wonderful.
But you know, there's support.
Soaring
out
to
there.
great heights. We have to go to a break now. You're watching Nat Chat. Stay with us. We'll be back very shortly. Hello and welcome back to Nat Chat. I'm Mirella Rich. If you've just joined us, we're here with Katie Lindorf, who's a Catholic homeschool mum. She has 5 children. She's homeschooling all of them, and her husband was homeschooled as well as herself for some of their years of schooling. Welcome back to the program.
Thank you.
Now, in a summary, what would you say the benefits of homeschooling are? Just to think of all, well, let's list as many benefits as we can think of homeschooling.
Yes, well, there's lots of benefits, but I guess from a personal level, you're very motivated to learn, and you know that you can learn anything yourself, as we touched on earlier with the building the house.
Yeah.
You have the confidence, and learning that throughout your schooling years translates into being very useful at university, rather than being spoon-fed everything, which often happens in the conventional schools, where you know they're constantly reminded when assignments have to come in and that sort of thing. At university, it's okay, peoples, you've got, you know, this assignment due at the end of term, or, you know, 6 weeks from now. And how many of these young people then go, oh, 6 weeks, I got heaps of time. And then, you know, last night before, they're busy, you know, tapping away.
I remember when I was at school, in secondary school, and the teacher used to read this book to us. She used to read it for some of the class, and then she told us, you know, to finish reading the book and then to answer all these questions on it. And she would be talking about the book in the class, just chatting about it. And I'd be taking down notes just with her chitter-chatter about the book. And then we had an assignment about writing about the whole book, and we had to read the book and then write all about the book. An essay, a really big assignment. And I did it just based on all her notes in the classroom. I didn't even read the book. I just did it based on her. Naughty me. And I didn't even read it. So I wrote the book, and then she signs back, excellent, you can see you have thoroughly read and understood the book. I didn't even read it. I just took it based on all the things I could see she loved about the book.
Oh, well,
don't do that at home. Don't do that at school.
That's forward thinking on your part.
But yeah, that's what you're saying. So at school they're sort of spoon-fed.
So and learning that, it translates better in university, and of course that means better results in the end for your university results. But then as the homeschooling mother, it creates a real closeness in the family, because you're not sending them away for that period of time each day. I think also it gives the kids an opportunity to not only see but assist in running the house, because we're all at home all day. You know, the house can get pretty messy and dirty at times, but they are all involved in cleaning up the mess and the dirt. So they would learn over the years to take the initiative to either not make the mess in the first place, because they're just going to have to clean it up, or if they do see a mess, they'll clean it up. And it's not some sort of, you know, esoteric thing that happens at home, you know, some magic, you know, dirty clothes basket that woomph, there's your clean clothes folded on your bed sort of thing. It's there in their face, they're doing it, and the life skills that are part of it. But you really get to know your kids as individuals, as people.
Yeah.
And being able to watch them develop and come out with some amazing insights.
Yeah.
We've had recently, we've just instituted before our family prayers, we get the one who's leading, who's usually the one who does grace at meal times. They will say the intention that we're offering it up for. And I have been astounded at some of the intentions that they have come up with. They'll be praying for, the government, or praying for a certain law not to be passed, or praying for, and this is coming from an 11-year-old.
Yeah.
When I was 11 years old, I didn't know anything about a government.
Yeah, no, neither
So,
did I.
and they pray for the church and all sorts of things, but because they're so involved in our lives as adults, my husband and I, we include them in everything.
Yeah.
And they learn so much more. We'll go to clearing sales with them, farm clearing sales, and they'll watch the auctioneer auctioning off stuff, and their games for the next few days will be auctioning off their toys to each other, sort of thing.
Yeah.
So it's just, they're not separated from us. We're always together, which of course has its downsides, but mostly it's good.
Yeah.
We have a lot of fun together, and we have work together.
Yeah.
And I think they can see that, we're not perfect, and that, that one of the intentions that they have even prayed for is us, my husband and I, as prayers. Like, they recognise that, even we need prayers.
Yeah.
It's very humbling, but it's very rewarding too.
That's beautiful. And do you find, it's hard to compare it to another family because every family is different, but do you find that your bond is very close with the children because you're homeschooling, because you spend so much more time with them and you're teaching them, so it's a huge giving,
Even now, if they go somewhere for a sleepover, or to grandma's house or nana's house or something for a sleepover, I feel like something's missing. I feel like part of me's missing when I'm driving away. I'm driving away going, I'm leaving my kid back there. She's 14.
Yeah.
And it's very, even now, because I'm so unused to it.
Yeah.
And yet, I can't say that people will accuse you of wrapping them up in cotton wool, and it's like, well, I don't think they're ready yet. It's my prerogative as a parent to let them out a little bit at a time.
Yeah.
I know my mother always used to say that children were like a kite. You had to let the string out, but you had to decide when to let the string out and when to pull it back in.
Yeah.
Until finally you let go of the string and let them fly their own way.
So scary.
Yeah. Exactly. Or maybe they never do really let go of the string. I don't know.
That's amazing. Yeah, it's a beautiful analogy, really, to think of it like that, because you're watching over them and you love them so much because and you just and you've got to watch them and just make sure that everything. Pray for them as well, like it's all one, isn't it?
Yeah. We pray for each other.
Yeah. And they all go to mass. Do they all go to mass as well? You go to mass every. Do you go every day? You're in the country, so
every week.
Every Sunday. Yeah,
it's a bit far. Otherwise, so.
They probably don't have daily mass up there anyway, where you are. It's a bit far.
We'd have to travel for that.
Yeah. Okay. Well, it's been wonderful having you on the program. Thank you so much for coming.
Thanks for having me.
You've been watching Nat Chat. I hope you enjoyed the program. We'll see you again soon.